tens of thousands of people so that you would anchor in your confidence and your stage presence and your worthiness so that you could step out into the larger vision for which you were created. I didn't give you these opportunities so you could pull over and park in somebody else's vision. How many of you have pulled over and parked in somebody else's? And if you're not parked in somebody else's vision, how many of you are pulled over and parked in an old vision of yours that no longer serves you today? And you're trying to be like, but this is my vision. And you're committed to something that has become obsolete, that is no longer serving you today. And so the heart of the universe says, so here's what I want you to do, Esther. I want you to get notice. I want you to step out into this vision that you have for being an author, for being, inspirational, motivational speaker, for being a writer, for being a spiritual therapist. And I was like, yeah, I'm ready, yeah, what? No, I'm not ready. No, not now. Not now, maybe, later. The universe is like, come on, I got your back. I was like, no, I'm not going. Give me a couple more years, universe. Give me a couple more years. Let me sock some more money away. Because you see, people know me as Rod Stewart's background vocalist. They see me and they say, see, that's Rod Stewart's background vocalist. That's my identity. Rod Stewart pays me a pretty good salary. And I could hear the universe thunder roar when it said, no! Rod Stewart is not your identity. I have called you by name. You are mine. And I know the thoughts I have towards you. I know the plans I have for you. Trust, beloved. And Rod Stewart does not sign your paycheck. I am your source. And I said, nope. I'm not going. Do you talk to the universe like that? And the universe is like, oh God, this is going to hurt me more than it hurts you. A week later, I swear to you, a week later, I get a call from Amy, my red invitation. And it says, Esther, darling, you've been such a wonderful, wonderful of service to this organization. We just love you. But darling, you're fired. And I was appalled. And I was shocked. And I was so terrified. And I was blindsided. I pretended to be blindsided. How many of you pretend to be blindsided? Because the universe always lets you know, beloved. It always lets you know when something's about to jump off. You might ignore it. You might be afraid of it. But you know. How many times have you looked back in your past when something devastating happened and you said, I had all the signs and I missed them. I missed them. So you know. And you can keep missing them. But one day it's going to come to you in a way that you can't miss. And so the reason I was given for being dismissed from Rod Stewart was because, you have gotten a little thick there, Tommy. And you've reached an age, you're past 40, you've reached an age that is no longer acceptable to sing hot legs behind Rod Stewart. You do understand, don't you? And I'm going to say to you, you understand, have you seen Rod Stewart lately? First of all, I want to say that Rod Stewart was a vision that had unfolded. I remember when I got that gift of Rod Stewart, he'd been on my vision board. And I'd been standing in front of the mirror saying, have I told you lately that I love you? Right? So imagine when I'm standing next to him at Madison Square Garden, singing, have I told you lately that I love you? God works. God is real. But that was an old vision. And the universe was like, it's it's time for a new vision now, Super. And so, as much as I joke around about Rod Stewart, I adore that man, because you know what? He did for me what I couldn't do for myself. He was the channel for my answered prayer, because it was the only channel that was listening. The universe was like, I gave you the ivory invitation. I gave you the pink invitation. And so even though Rod Stewart's consciousness was about vanity, what he meant for vanity, God meant for my what? Good. For my good. So whatever it is that you're sitting here today thinking that somebody did to you, they abandoned you, they rejected you, they betrayed you, they've forgotten you, they diminished you, they devalued you, or whatever, that was the only way that message could get through to you. Because you weren't willing or ready or available to hear it in the gentle way. And I love what my mentor Michael Beckwood said. He says, the pain pushes until the vision pulls. And there will come a day, if you get dressed in consciousness, that you will not have to be pushed by a devastating crisis with the rug being pulled out from under you or being blindsided. You will hear the divine invitation, and you will immediately go within and ask the question, what is seeking to emerge through me? What must I do? So when I finally got off the floor 6 months later out of the fetal position, the floor gets really hard after about 6 months. And I heard the universe say, take up your bed and walk. Get up. Get up. Get up. And I went to that desk and I looked at all of those invitations piled high. And I said, well, who am I if I'm not a background vocalist? What am I supposed to do? And I picked up one of the invitations, and on the back, there were a set of instructions. There was a map that had been there all along. So when the divine invitation becomes the activity of your consciousness, encoded in that invitation is the way, the how, and every step. But if you're not a vibrational match for the answer that is already permeating through your beingness, you can't connect with the answer because it's operating at such a faster rate than where you're hanging out in consciousness. When you get the answer, you don't get the answer. You've now allowed the answer. The answer's been there all the time. So the first step, the first key on the back of the invitation, which is outlined in my book, Soul Recovery, and yes, that is a plug. But if I'm going to talk to you about getting dressed, I want to show you how to do it. So the first key said, Esther, please don't ever think again. Just knock it off. Just stop trying to figure out your life. Because you trying to figure out your life from the level of the problem, you are powerless. And your life has become what? Unmanageable. But in the key here, it says, yes, of myself I am nothing, as Jesus Christ said. But through my conscious reconnection to the divine that created me in its image and likeness, I am divinely empowered. And my life is restored to divine and perfect order. And then I take you through a whole week of getting reintroduced to what? Yourself. As an expression of God. And then step 2 says, I came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. And in key number 2, it says, through my conscious awareness, I am one with the infinite. I can't be restored to something I never had. So my original nature must be what? Whole, perfect, and complete. And now I remember. I wasn't created out of struggle. I wasn't created out of unworthiness, being broken and damaged. I was created out of love. I just forgot. But through turning my will over to the care of God as I understand God, as it says in step 3, I am restored. And key number 3 says, with all of your getting, quoted scripture, get understanding. So we understand the nature of God as omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. Do you know? And I'm bending down here because I really, it's like I'm trying to get clear to you. Do you really know the nature of God? that it is only love. That it doesn't give you love, that it is love. That it doesn't give you prosperity, that it is the prosperity. But you've got to practice it. You can't show up at church and the picnics and all of that. You got to sit down several times a day and say, telephone off, television off, everything's off, just me remembering waking up to who I am. I don't know where the invitations are showing up in your life, but you know. I know you know. And if they're ivory-colored invitations, it doesn't mean to quit your job or to divorce your husband next week. It might mean divorcing next month, but not next week. It means get dressed. If you receive the pink invitation, I know it's a little scary right now, and you might be feeling a little confused and not knowing what to do or where to go. Don't make any sudden moves. Just get still. Because there's something within you that knows exactly what to do. That knows how to heal. That knows the plans that it has for you. If you've received the red invitation, I know that it feels like the dark night of the soul. And it feels like you will never be okay ever, ever, ever again. And I'm telling you what I know, not what I read about. Because I just came through one of the darkest nights of the soul I've ever been in since my dad died when I was 16 years old. Not only are you going to be okay if you get dressed, you're going to be better than you've ever imagined. And last year, at the beginning of my dark night of the soul, my prayer was, I don't know how you're going to pull this off, universe, but I just know that you are, because you always have. And I'm going to get dressed, even as I'm having my tantrum on the floor. Even as my little girl is doubled over in knots in my gut. I knew that I knew that I knew that there was a power and presence within me that had never failed me yet. And I know the same for you. So I invite you to get dressed. I invite you to not wait until it turns cold red. Get dressed and partake of the feast that has been prepared just for you. The divine invitation. Get dressed for your own party. Peace and blessings.